professional bodies in the world. IEEE has displayed its strong footprint in the technology growth since its day of inception. On this IEEE Day, IIST IEEE organizes a panel discussion on the relevance of IEEE in India's growth. We have an eminent pool of panel members to discuss and ponder upon the topic. Without any further delay, I welcome our first panel member, Dr. TJ Aprain, MTTS Kerala Chapter Chair, to the event. He has long 34 years of experience in ISRO and currently he serves as the president of NEST SFO Technologies. We extend our hearty welcome to you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now welcome Dr. Deepthi Shashidharan, Computer Society Kerala Vice Chair, to the panel. Presently, she serves as the Assistant Professor at Government Engineering College, Idukki. Welcome, ma'am, to the evening. Our next panel member is Dr. Deepthi Das Krishna, the APS Kerala Chair. Currently, she serves as an Assistant Professor at Cochin University of Science and Technology. Hearty welcome, ma'am, to the event.
Thank you, Gopika.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I welcome Dr. Chinmay Saha, APS Region 10 Coordinator, as our next panel member. He is an Associate Professor at the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Trivandrum. Welcome, sir, to the panel. Thank you, sir. I now invite the moderator of the session, Dr. B.S. Manoj, EMBS Kerala Chair and IIST SB Counselor. Presently, he serves as a professor at the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Gopika.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, but importantly, I welcome all the volunteers and participants to the event, wishing you all a happy IEEE Day and a fruitful session ahead. Now, for the detailed panel introduction and moderation, I hand over the podium to Dr. B.S. Manoj. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Gopika. Thank you for this opportunity that the student branch is giving me. Let me just give a brief introduction about the esteemed panelists. So we have a very experienced and diverse panel is for this particular panel discussion of relevance of IEEE in India's growth. So Dr. T.J. Aprain, who is the current chair of IEEE MTTS Kerala chapter, and also serving as a president of R&D of RF and microwave engineering area and Next group. He is an experienced technical leader. He served the Indian Space Research Organization for about 30 plus years, 33 years to be precise. And after serving in various roles, including division head, group head, and so on, developing technologies for various Indian rockets, he served as a professor at St. Thomas Institute of Science and Technology and as a visiting faculty at IIST Trivandrum. Now, he holds his PhD from Kerala University. Dr. T.J. Aprain, you are a valuable addition to this panel, and your inputs will be really, really good for IEEE Kerala section. Now, Dr. Deepthi Das Krishna is currently serving as assistant professor at Cochin University of Science and Technology. She served more than 15 years as an academician in various roles, first at Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, Cochin, and then at Cochin University of Science and Technology. So she is an active researcher, and she also served as a principal investigator under DST Women Scientist Scheme. Her research area is RF and microwave engineering and system design. She is currently serving as the chair of IEEE Antennas and Propagation Society Kerala chapter. Thank you, Deepthi, to have agreed to be here and sharing your observations on this particular topic relevant for this panel discussion. Now, Dr. Deepthi Shashidharan is an associate professor of Department of IT at Government Engineering College, Idukki. Before becoming associate professor, she was a faculty with a long tenure at Barton Hill College of Engineering at Trivandrum. Her BTech was in IT and MTech from Computer and Information Sciences from QSAT and PhD from NIT Calicut. She is currently serving as the IEEE Computer Society Kerala chapter vice chair. Her thesis, PhD thesis won the grade 7 award by IEEE ComSoc Bangalore chapter and IEEE ComSoc Kerala chapter in 2019. Thank you, Deepthi Sasidaran, to agree for joining here. And yeah, we wish to hear from your points on the points that we have for discussion today. Dr. Chinmay Saha, who is my faculty colleague at IIST and IEEE colleague in our student branch as well as in IEEE Kerala section, graduated from University of Kolkata in radio physics in 2002, 2005 and 2012 respectively for BTech, MTech and PhD. So he has been an active researcher visiting various universities across Canada. And he served as IEEE APS chair during 1819 and founded the IEEE MTTS Kerala chapter, making a significant impact for the area of MTTS in Kerala section. So he received several awards, including Outstanding Teacher Award from IIST and AICT Vishweshwara Best Teacher Award from Government of India, and IIT Professor S.N. Mitchell Award of 2021, to name a few of the notable awards from his large list of honors and awards. He published 2 papers, one in Basic Electronics, published by Cambridge University Press, and another in Multifunctional Ultra-Wideband Antennas with Taylor and Francis, USA. So right now he plays various hats. One important hat that he wears is actually with the R10 coordinator for APS in IEEE. So thank you, Dr. Chinmay, to have joined us and to hear from you your viewpoints on this point. So
thank you, Professor.
One of the welcome. One of the important objectives of this particular panel discussion is to see what kind of points we can accumulate to prepare a document so that the authorities or who can benefit from that document will use it. So at the end of this discussion, I'm planning to translate the observations and suggestions into some sort of a document. So before going further, before turning over to you, I just want to mention a few points about why this topic is relevant. So let me just highlight the India's growth in a few points. So one of the important aspects of India's growth is India's population growth. So as we see today, we are about 1.38 billion people, and almost all statistical agencies and demographic organizations predict that by 2024 or maybe even the middle of 2023, India will actually become the largest populated country on earth. So while this is becoming a very important point in terms of resources, in terms of the collection of human resources, but it also brings out concerns of the pressure on the infrastructure, the pressure on the resources, and the pressure on the social quality of life and so on. So that's one of the important aspects of India's growth that I want the panel members to keep in mind. Second important aspect of growth in India is economic growth. So we have seen close to 10% growth until recently, and the growth has been slightly affected. Today, agencies predict that GDP growth of 8.7% is present in 2022 financial year. And Moody's report says that we were 8.3 in 2021 percentage and 7.7% in 2022. So this is actually significant growth in terms of India's GDP, and we might be able to see the growth is actually significant in the coming years too. Now, today we are on the 4th or 5th on the GDP, but in the next few years, it is possible that we may be on the top 3 in terms of GDP growth. So with respect to, in addition to these two growth, like the population growth, the economic growth, the academic growth is also very, very significant. So we have large number of universities and education institutions in Kerala alone. We have more than 150 education institutions producing engineering graduates. And that growth is some way contributing, adding value to the growth of the human resources too. So similarly, India's infrastructure is also growing. The number of road networks grown, the number of thousands of kilometers of highways newly laid out, new airports built, and so on are actually highlighting India's growth too. Now, while India is growing at this substantial growth, IEEE's growth in India is also giving some support to the India's growth. So one of the aspects where we can highlight is, as usual, we discuss about the growth of IEEE Kerala section. Now, IEEE Kerala section is the largest section in the world among all IEEE sections. Not just that, our student population is also among the largest in all sections in the world. Another point of IEEE's growth in India is that among the top 3 sections, top 10 sections, at least 3 sections are actually from India, including IEEE Kerala section, IEEE Madras, IEEE Bangalore, and so on. So that shows there is substantial presence of IEEE membership in India. Now, how these are actually going to be relevant in the future, how these are going to mutually support, and what actions that we have to do from the perspective of each of your IEEE roles, from each of your societies, how you foresee these growth aspects. Now, I would like to ask the first question to the panelist. What you think as the relevance of IEEE in India's growth? Let me start with Dr. Apren. Dr. Apren, what do you think is the relevance of IEEE in India's growth?
So, okay, thank you. Only one request is that whatever I am telling here, this is my own words. So I don't want a discussion on further. So if it is good, take it, otherwise leave it. That's all I want. So as you mentioned, IEEE is the greatest or the largest organization. But that is correct to some extent, because when you considering the IEEE itself, it is the largest section. But the benefit of the IEEE section to India, at least I can tell in India, it is not going to the majority of the people in India. So in young professionals also, it is not going fully. It is only benefiting to some few. I think it is less than a decimal. So, and it is concentrating on the rural, it is on the urban. And that is the main disadvantages of the IEEE in India. And we are not playing any role, I would say any role. That is all my, that is why earlier itself I mentioned, this is my observation only, need not take it.
Yeah, no, your observation is very important.
In any role. And the relevance and importance and the benefits is going to only very, very few. That is what. So then what we can do in the Indian scenario is, so even though we have a lot of facts we have about India, growing economic growth and GDP, this and all we have, but actually that also is limited to some only few percent. That is not going to the rural area or the poorest or the poor of the India. That is the largest community. That is we are suffering from a lot of things, a lot of lacks in their life society. There is a lot of major percentages there. We can talk all these economic growth and all, but today only I read one report. The people starving is more and more. That is one thing I heard. So in this scenario, IEEE can do a lot of things. That is first for the country itself and for the existing IEEE members. So I have some few suggestions, because now if you see on the industry scenario that I somewhere I mentioned, industry is moving from industry 4.0 to 4.50, 4.0 to 5.0. So what is the difference between 4.0 and okay, I don't want to call 5.0. I would like to call it as 5.0, because immediately after the introduction it may go to 5.1. That is version may change. So what is the major difference between 4.0 or 4.0 is that in 4.0 we totally neglected the human resources. It was fully integrating the technology and the IoT and the lesser technology. That was the main integration happened in 4.0. So we totally, what happened was totally neglected the human resources.
Okay.
So anyway, that they identified, and now that is why they are going for the 5.0. 5.0 is integration of the human resources, creativity, and ecosystems, and educational revamping. That is the motto of the industry 5.0. But 5 points, that is very important. Then what is what is the creativity of human resources? That is, they are going to give a important role. That human to human and human for human. That is one approach they are following, and is collaborative work with robots. That is collaborative robots concept, and human and the robots should work together. And we are going to give more importance on the uh, human resources. No, that means for the to succeed in the industry for a person or a young professionals, they have to look on the creativities and their understanding and the latest technologies that is going in the educational field.
Okay.
So what IEEE can do is to, in short, I will complete within 2 or 3, but I have a lot of things to tell, but I want to complete within 1 or 2. So in the 2 minutes, I will complete it. What is required? Whether we can have a total revamping of the education system in India, we can give a proposal. So that is one thing I am asking, I am supporting. Right now, I know both R&D, R&D and academia and industry. What is required, I know very well. And the syllabus also I know, because I have participated in syllabus committee and all. That is very, very essential.
Okay.
One important suggestion I will tell you, for the BTech course, if it is 4 years, now we have to go 1 year. Mandatorily they should go to the industry, and industry relation is required. So and the number of subjects they want to study in BTech or any course, that should be limited to the essential, very essential. And there should be a program by professors or the faculties. They can offer some courses. Anybody can attend the courses and get the knowledge, but essential knowledge that they have to get it. Then as for one more another thing I want to emphasize here, we don't have any relation with the government, even state government or the Indian government. We don't have any relation at all. There are enough number of problems India government is projecting, but we don't have any solution. Suggestion, we have suggestions. We have a lot of intellectuals are there in IEEE, and there is no doubt for intellectuals in IEEE organization. There are a lot of experienced people are there, knowledge people are there, latest technology they know, old technology know, our culture they know. All these is a totally bundle of knowledge is available in IEEE, but we are not utilizing for this for the Indian government. It is not government. So what I mean is, we have to give identify, support, for example, so a simple solution. Last 1 or 2 years, India government was asking for modernization of railway. Even toilet modernization also was asking regularly, but we are not contributed anything, which was the cheapest and lowest. We are not contributed anything. So what I want to tell is, we have to prepare a document, a white paper, so that has to be submitted, and identifying the technical areas where we can contribute, and give proposal without asking, also give proposals to the government, whether they consider or they have to give it. For example, in even railway also, there is a very need for the signal system revamping. So that is very, very important. So what we can do as technologies, so that is modern technology. We know artificial intelligence, machine learning, or the data analytics, everything we know. So, but we are not giving any proposal. That is very, very important. Then another thing I want to highlight is where problems also 25 we have to identify. Even household we do. So another one is these IEEE events. IEEE events are simply, I would say it is simply repetitive. Not agree for that. So what we is that on technical paper presentation. So people will expert will come and present their technical paper, newest technical thesis, something they propose. Who is going to get benefited? So, but why I want to mention this is for at least half of the IEEE presentation seminars should be industry oriented. A problem industry oriented. Problem some industry should bring somebody. I don't know how to bring it, but we have IEEE coordination, industry coordination team is there. We have to bring the industry problems to the podium, and so if my time is over, I will stop it. I have some.
I'll come back to this particular point in the next round. But my first round is actually about what your society or what your IEEE organization unit or what you think as the relevance of IEEE in India's growth. Okay, I'll come to subsequent points
Okay, I told already.
Yeah, but you mentioned some, but we'll drill down into the details in a few minutes from now. Now, let me go to Dr. Deepthi Das. From your perspective, as well as from APS perspective, what is IEEE's relevance in India's growth?
Yeah, Dr. Manoj, thank you. Thank you for taking up this topic and having this discussion. And Dr. Apren's points are more or less covers all the full topic, I would say. But still, I too have few points like IEEE, of course, especially APS has a role in helping out in the nation growth, because we have been through COVID, we have been through the 2 years of. So what actually we figured out, or what was quite distinctively observed, was this digital divide. So though there we have the advantage of internet and all the technology, it has not percolated to the society, into the society. And IEEE APS brings all those people in this domain together, get them to interact. Everything is there. I know all of us know the positive aspects of networking, but the only point which I would like to highlight is that we need more imagination than knowledge. So that is the only lacking point, in the sense imagination. It actually converges to what Dr. Apren also says, how to solve the real life relevant problems. So, but then this does gives us a podium to bring people together, to get an opportunity to have students to interact. But challenges are there. We had only would say halfway through in bringing people together. But what to do next is a challenge. So I think sort of brainstorming and as more problems and solutions, and that sort of an approach is going to be, we have to modify ourselves into that. So that is all I can add at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Deepthi Das. Now let me ask Deepthi Sashidharan. So according to your society's perspectives or your own perspectives, so what is IEEE's relevance in India's growth?
Yeah, thank you, sir. I totally agree with the points put forth by Dr. Prem and Dr. Deepthi. But let me add from the perspective of IEEE CS. So CS, maybe after COVID, most of the people has understood the need for the digital era, and what are the advantages of digital era. So in accordance with that, we have come up with various monthly seminars that will allow our members to understand what is really happening in technology, and how the technology is being used in various areas to improve the quality of life. So one initiative of IEEE CS is C-Book. program. CBOK program is actually a large repository. You can name it as a repository where you have a lot of knowledge regarding software engineering and the practices in software engineering, so which has been reviewed by more than 150 reviewers across 33 countries. So uh, I mean, these practices and the concepts are being introduced to Indian population, and our major institutes like IIT, NITs, and other institutes, not just technical universities or institute, the arts and science institutes, they are adopting the concepts presented in CBOK, and many of them has got a license, and they are adopting in these concepts in their curriculum. So that is one way CS is directly affecting or participating in the growth of technology and contributing towards technology, and make sure that it reaches some percentage of the population, not entirely. The whole population is not just as Dr. Prem said, we are not reaching, the majority of the population, but still we are able to reach a small amount of population through our initiatives. And yeah, then yes, there is a huge gap. I totally agree with that, and we need to formulate an initiative to bridge this gap. And I think I'll stop with that
So,
right now.
thank you, Dr. Deepthi. Now let me ask Dr. Chinmay. You have now worked IEEE Kerala section for some years. Now you are working at the Arton level, and you are now able to see across countries. What do you think IEEE's relevance in India's growth? Now coming one more dimension to the growth is actually the digital divide, the disparity between the haves and have-nots, or the difference between the rich and the poor. That is also another dimension of the growth, which is widening, as we have now been pointed to by Dr. Apre and Dr. Deepthi Das, as well as Dr. Deepthi Sashidharan. So now, given that, what do you think IEEE's relevance in India's R&D growth?
Yeah, firstly, let me thank my friend, colleague, Dr. Manoj, for inviting me in this prestigious panel. There is a advantage and disadvantage of being the last speaker of the panel. Advantage being I know the perspective of other fellow panel members. The disadvantage is most of the points are covered. But I just would like to mention few points which should probably add new directions to the panel and for further discussion. See, firstly, IEEE is a technical society. It's a technological society, but it has other avenues. And it is neither a philanthropic organization nor a nation builder, but it gives directions. It creates policy, which has to be reaped in a proper way to advance the country, advance the society, and the full spectrum of opportunities that comes through IEEE that we have to think of. Because as I mentioned, it's not Ramakrishna Mission or Bharat Sevashram Sangha. It will do philanthropic activities across all places, but it has different kind of wings that basically encourages such activities. Let me mention few points like, IEEE as a whole, not from a society perspective, has recently coming up with smart village. What is a smart village? It is basically initiative for IEEE SIGHT, SIGHT, which most of you know, Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology. So the smart village is basically connecting the underprivileged section of the crowd. Crowd means it is all kind of things. It covers schools also. It covers the very, poor section of the people. It has a special initiative for Africa. It has special initiative for some of the countries, even in region 10, some part of India can also come. So through the smart village, it's not only education or digital education or webinar or remote classes. It covers all possible kind of aspects from sanitization to drinking water to everything. We can submit our proposal to IEEE site, but remember that this is a pilot project. IEEE is not going to fund all such requirement across all villages. We, the IEEE leaders, have to take initiative to write proposal, to run a particular proposal successfully through such initiative, and then our builders or our whatever, whoever, we have to report it in a properly so that it becomes noticeable, from institute level or from newspaper or print media or electronic media. It is the responsibility of the society, government also, to make it as a pilot project, and that should be repeated different places. Recently, as you know, 5G, inauguration was there in last week, where our Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Prime Minister, was inaugurating the 5G. So there, all the aspects of new avenues that 5G can cover, starting from smart education to digital university to smart, medical services, everything is under the scope of IEEE. As I said, it's a policymaker. So what is the spectrum for 5G? How we can have enhanced latency, how we can have enhanced data rate. These are the technical things that IEEE will do. So the IEEE's benefits has to be harvested by the nation builder, by the policymaker. IEEE alone cannot solve all the problems across the globe, and not for obviously India, because we are a huge population. 1.4 billion roughly. Few more points I would just want to mention. Recently, many of you are aware that through IEEE project, we have done a smart classroom facility. In fact, couple of such proposals are submitted. So this smart classroom facility is one kind of pilot project. Recently, we have done this in a school, and in remote school. My colleagues over here, Dr. Deepti, Dr. Manoj, and others were present in the inauguration. So this is basically a pilot project which has been funded by IEEE, where all the AV, smart, TV and associated electronics has been sponsored for a school which is remotely located and which is having kids from the underprivileged family. So such type of initiative we can run in different places, but again, it is the responsibility of others to make sure that these facilities are being used properly. We have our time, we have our effort, but we need other people to handshake with us to run the show in a much better way.
Oh, thanks. I think you have made a very interesting point that
you allow me 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Professor
yes.
Manoj, if you allow me 30 seconds, I just want to add another point to the perspective. As you know, IEEE has women in engineering, and some of the societies like Microwave and Theory Technique Society, Antenna Society has women in antennas, women in microwave kind of initiative. This is very important because, if you see the statistics in countries like India and other places, the engineering graduates with, from women fraternity is very less. In top-notch universities, IITs, only 10% to 15% graduates are our female counterpart. So I think IEEE has a special emphasis on that, and we can plan better activities, better initiative to advance in that also, because without the growth and advancement of women engineers, women technologists, and educationalists coming forward, it's not a homogeneous and a proper advancement or growth for any country. Yeah.
I think that was a very good point that in fact, 2 points that emerged from this first round of discussion. One is that, digital divide, which is not allowing everybody in India to, utilize the technology. And second thing is harvesting IEEE's resources, which is actually not done to some extent here in case of the railways, technology advancement, or developing the villages and schools, or developing the female education and so on, which IEEE can do significantly, which is not done sufficiently well by the institutes, agencies, as well as the government as of today. In fact, my second point that I want the panelists to make a short and brief and to the point comments is about academia industry collaboration. So I'm starting with the pre-assumed point that academia industry collaboration is very challenging in India. The reasons are not known. And you being in the academia as well as partly working with the organizations like IEEE are the best people to say why the academia industry collaboration is challenging. How can we tackle that issue and how your IEEE society can contribute towards improving this interaction between academia and industry. Let me start again with Dr. T.J. Apren, who has won the caps of the industry R&D leader as well as professional IEEE volunteer. So please, Dr. Apren TJ, what is wrong with this industry academia interactions today and how it can be solved and what your society can do?
Not, I won't talk about my society, but it's generally I can talk.
Yeah, please.
So that's my feeling is there is a lot of revamping is required. That is on the academia side. That's why I mentioned one point. There should be a curriculum change is required. At least 4-year BTech project, at least 1 year it should be in industry, and there is no collaboration, extensive, strong collaboration with the industry and academia. That is the problem with our. It's a problem of our problem. That is faculty problem or management problem. We can say that way only. IEEE, that industry is not going to come to IEEE and ask for it. That is one thing. So what we are a voluntary organization, we should, because we have a lot of tacit knowledge, that tacit knowledge you have to exploit and offer, find out the problems in the industry and offer solutions, and our students should get benefited. And that is, there are great opportunities. Anyway, no industry is going to come to you. That is 100% sure to any academic institution. We have to go beyond them, behind them. That is one thing point. So that is, time is not sufficient. That is our first point. Second point, most of the industrial problems, there are problems. Any number of problems are there. I can give a number of problems. In military, I can give hundreds of problems. Already listed problems I can give. Then there some problems are solved. Unsolved problems are also. They are going on listing. This is unsolved, unsolved, unsolved. For years they are put. So this we have to go behind that and get the problem solved. Then another problem we have, industry is facing the problem, I will tell you, because industry problems are not short-term. It is not 1 month, 2 months, people are not able to solve it. So suppose I give a problem to the BTech student, so that how much time you are, that present curriculum allows a project, BTech student to do at least some maximum 30 days a project or a 45 days a project. So with that, no industry problems. Industry is coming with a problem that is a huge problem, that is a very relevant problem and technology state-of-the-art problem and critical problems. For to solve that, minimum some time is required. That means you have to have a continuity of the solution. If one person leaves, the other person should take it. MTech also same thing. MTech may get 1 year. So that also should be taken continuously. For that, my suggestion is faculty should be the lead role. Faculty should take the lead role and supporting is the students. So that type of attitude should come from the faculty. Then only it will be solved. So that is one thing. Then that's why I initially told the curriculum, the number of subjects are all those things. So industry, there is nothing. So industry is ready to collaborate with academia. There are a lot of industries who is going to the academia and establishing relations. Even labs they establish in academia. Even I can tell you one example. We established one lab. Why? Because so they were behind us. That's why we established. So that type of attitude can come. IEEE should go or faculty should go. And behind that and that type of attitude, and it's a painstaking effort that somebody has to do it. Otherwise, there is no problem. That's all my
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Apren. You have made very valuable points from the industry perspective. All these points are appear to be really, really valuable. And in fact, I believe there are solutions possible in this space. Okay. Now let me hear from Dr. Deepthi Das. What do you think as the challenges in the industry academia interaction in India and how to tackle?
This from a faculty point of view, as Dr. Apren would, I agree with him. I agree to differ also in one way, because I feel a student to the college for 4 years, he should do the learning properly, and in the final year or the fifth year, probably he can go for an internship for 1 full year. But the onus is not on the student; it should be on the faculty. Like right now, it is a volunteering. I mean, whatever we do is as a part volunteering in the sense consultancy is there. We have a lot of incentives for faculty to go and interact with the industry. But I would request the UGC or whoever. I mean, if we are sending a recommendation, we should have a scheme. It is there, I believe. Have to have deputation in the in the industry for 1 or 2 or 3 years in between, whenever it is possible, so that the relationship between the faculty and the industry is very strong, and then subsequently the students benefit out of it. It is not like we send the students for internship, because I have been teaching for the past so many years. Undergraduate level, we send them for internships. It's okay, but then they get an exposure, but then the time is so little that neither of them benefit out of it. As continuity is an issue, everything is there. And the second point in industry interaction, the problem associated is the lack of R&D places where they do proper R&D, like SFO might be there and NEST would be there. But in areas like antenna and propagation and microwave, etc., DRDO, ISRO are the most places where they do core work, and very few industry, at least if not in Kerala, it is difficult to send the students to these core areas. So that is one of the, and you have to go to Bangalore. Bangalore again, how much of the work is hands-on, I'm not very sure. Like NAL, again, we're going back to the same government supported centers. And so it all basically the faculty has to be has to have the guts to take what do you call it, think out of the box, or go take an initiative and interact with the industry, take up the challenges and slowly start working on. Then the students get along, they either that way both of them will benefit. Third issue with industry interaction is that how many of the people in industry has a time to mentor? What I have seen mostly is that they are very busy with their deadlines, and so it takes we see very few people who are out taking effort to mentor those in the academia, students, etc. So it should be either, it should be like a bridge. Both of them, industry as well as academicians, should take initiative for the benefit of the next generation. That is all.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Deepthi. So some very interesting additional points. Yes.
Can I leave?
Yeah. If your time is up, you can. Yeah, please, we'll continue with the rest of the numbers. Yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you my points tomorrow when I meet you.
Okay.
I'll counter many things. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Dr. Deepthi Shashidharan, so now the same question, if I ask you about the challenges in industry academia interactions, and what do you think we can do to tackle that? So how do you answer?
Yeah, I agree with what Dr. Aprim and Dr. Deepthi said, but from my perspective, academia and industry are two different worlds. There is since I am from I have been working in Idiki College, which is in a rural place with very little accessibility, and the research and the amount of extra work done on improving the employability of the students are minimalist, because one reason is that industries do not prefer to come to such rural areas. So that is one important aspect that I have observed. I have been working with Government Engineering College, Barton Hill, which is in city, and we had a lot of collaboration with various industries, especially from talking from a CS point of view. So we had interaction with lot of industries. We could able to get grants, able to get consultation. We were able to sign MOUs, and students were actively participating and coming in contact with real applications that they can work in. But when coming to the rural areas, these are lacking. Main reason is that it is rural area, and industries and people are not willing to travel. Even faculties are not willing to travel to that extent to reach students. So that might be one reason I'm that I have experienced firsthand while traveling between two different colleges in two different locations. So yeah, so then if we could encourage, we should have some schemes to encourage faculties in those colleges to get more participation, to get I think the initiative has to come from faculty point of view. Then once you have faculties interacting with the industry, that will reciprocate, and students will come in contact with the industry and technologies that is happening in the industry, the new technologies, and what is happening in the industry, and how things are being done in the industry. So I really think that the initiative has to come from the faculty point of faculty side itself. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. In fact, this digital divide in the case of industry academic interaction is a very, very valid point. What works well in Cochin or Trivandrum may not work well in elsewhere in Kerala. In fact, one of the difference in India versus the developed foreign countries is that rural areas are very, very rural, that you cannot imagine basic amenities in rural areas. So that is something affecting the academic interactions also. Okay. Now, Dr. Chinmay Saha, so your area is very relevant and applicable for industry. In fact, we do not find several companies working in that area, in the antenna design or RF devices or whatever. In fact, we can count the number of industries in this area very, very small. So there is a significant requirement for this academic industry interaction. So now the question to you is the same as what I have asked others. What are the challenges that you think affecting the industry academy, and how to tackle them?
Yeah, again, thank you very much. So Dr. Aprin has left. We always are unison in most of the time on different things, but this is a very nice platform where we can really have our perspective and fight with each other technically. So, I have a different feeling. Gap is there. When there is a gap, both the hands from both sides should be extended to minimize the gap and then make the handshaking happen. So I give you just some statistics. When we organize any conference in the area of antennas on microwave circuits and systems, etc. in India, we fight to get industry sponsorship, hardly 5 to 10, that too after a lot of follow-up and so on. But same conference when it is in US or Europe, I give an example of IMS, International Microwave Symposium. There are 400 booths from industry. So this is the real situation. So industry hardly exists in this part of the globe. So industry, when we talk about antennas and microwave circuits, research industry, it is mainly the government organization. So ISRO, DRDO, NAL, some CSIR lab, and so on. Truly speaking, there should be much more initiative from industry, because government already has a lot of policies. DST has a policy of imprint project where the 50% fund has to be sponsored by industry. Remaining 50% fund will be given by DST ACRB. I don't know how many such projects are running successfully. Whenever the Indian industry hear that 50% of a 1 crore project has to be given by them, I don't know how many of them come forward for such initiative. AICT has recently signed a MOU with IEEE with the same goal of minimizing the gap between academia and industry. Industry participation needs to be much more. And it is not just UG or PG, because UG student hardly get time to visit industry and do a meaningful project. Only some institute students who are very high caliber students like IITs or other central organizations, some of our students also, they are doing meaningful work even by a 3 months internship work in industry. But as a gross, I think industry should come forward with industry sponsored PhD, like it happens in other part of the globe. Some PhD students are solving problems only for industry. So they are like some of the old IITs are doing this. The academics, they are doing little a bit of improvisation in the PhD degree awarding policy. Like many universities are having 2 first authored journal papers and so on. But those students who are solving industry problem, their criteria might be little different. So such initiatives should come from industry, then only real, handshaking and real collaboration, minimizing the really the gap between academia and industry will be more fruitful. And IEEE Kerala section has already shown how big step they can take. Last few years, many of you might be aware that IEEE Kerala section is organizing an IEEE job fair where I don't know how many of those jobs are research oriented job, but I know a good number of students, mainly UG students from different colleges, are getting placed through IEEE. So I believe IEEE can definitely create the policy. Once again, I am coming to the same point, but here the industry has to come forward and contribute, because academic, based on the institutional policy, already we have some ways to make friendship with industry. Yeah,
Okay.
this is what I
I
wanted
think
to
these
add.
are very valuable points. I have one thought in this particular direction. So you all agreed that faculty members should lead, not students. And second thing that you mentioned is industry should take leadership for sponsoring activities and so on. That's also a very valuable thing. But my observation is that if you take faculty members, for them to take leadership in solving the industry problems, they should get fairly sync with or in sync with, or what you call impedance matched with the industry. So to have this impedance matching between faculty members and industry leadership, very close interactions are required. Sometimes visits are required by the faculty on a regular basis to industry, and even sabbatical positions can be created by industry for faculty members, say summer sabbatical visits to industry, so that the faculty members themselves will get familiar with the work, the kind of work, the quality of work, the way of delivery and so on, which is very, very important for students to take much better role in solving industry problems. So in fact, one of the recommendations that I am planning to make as an outcome of this panel discussion is to create not short-term sabbatical positions for academicians in industries. Okay, what is a short-term sabbatical? Maybe 1 month visit, or a summer visit, or winter visit, or even an year-long visit for the faculty members in industry. So they will get familiar with the kind of work which is slightly different from the classroom teaching or laboratory related thing or research work. So I think there's a possibility that we can make a substantial improvement in industry academy interactions in the coming decade if we allow this enhanced interaction between faculty members and industry. So this is where now one possibility. In fact, as you all agreed, the challenges are very clear, and the challenges can be solved too. One aspect of the challenge is the digital divide due to rural character, which is another dimension which we may have to solve through a different modality. Now, we are short of time, but one more point I just want to bring out to the attention of the panelists is the employability of the graduates from Indian institutions. Okay, so as we have seen that many industry records indicate that the employability of our graduates is actually on a very, very low level in the single digit percentages or even smaller than that. In fact, 3% was employability found in one of the surveys for certain advanced areas of science and technology. So very briefly and to the point, I just want to hear from so Dr. Deepthi Das, what do you think as the issue with employability and how you think we can solve the employability problem of Indian graduating or graduate students.
Sir, my experience with this campus placements in the undergraduate and the postgraduate college, it is the basic, the how well they have they are able to understand or comprehend and the learning unlearning process. How those students who are good at that, they get placed in core companies irrespective of what their final year project is or what their domain areas are. So we at the moment what is happening is that there is a lack of attention to the fundamental topics, the programming skills if they're going for the programming area, or the circuits, networks, all those core areas. If they do the problem solving, I think the students automatically train themselves for the process of solving industry problems. So instead of going for that, there is, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody is going behind these new terms which are coming in the, the fashionable terms that I wouldn't want to take the terms exactly, but instead of going from the we are going away from the fundamental topics which they are supposed to learn in their first year, second year, third year, and then final year, of course, they're free to take whatever projects they want to. So if that we can do that just dutifully, I'm sure our students would be good and employable in whatever core areas they have chosen.
Yeah.
Irrespective of which, because there is a craze for computer science these days. It doesn't really matter. That's what my belief is.
So, in fact, we do not have a panelist who work in a private academic institute. We all have, government academic institute faculty here. So to hear the real challenges that way. But your point is good. The fundamentals are the key point, and if that is clear, we will not have the employability problem. Now, Dr. Deepthi Shashidharan, what do you suggest for this particular problem?
Hello, yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with Dr. Deepthi that fundamentals are really important. But I want to emphasize one more point, that is like we need to revise our lab syllabus as well. I have seen a lot of lab syllabus which are the same repetitive process. There should be the experiments should be designed in such a way that they should be, students should be able to think and come up with a solution, rather than repeating the same set of experiments that has been carried on for many years. So rather than that, the experiments and the problem given to the students should be thought provoking. So yeah, if we have such kind of activities in the classes, I think the fundamentals will be more clear. And for the employability, especially in an IT or CS domain, yes, programming skill is very, very essential. And what I have seen is that many students lack the basic logic creation. The skill to create logic is what lacking. If the college or the institution has to take up that, institution has to do extra work to ensure that if they are going towards an IT industry or a similar area, the ability of a students to come up with a logic should be improved. So more work should be done on that part also. Yeah.
So education should be more creative, and some sort of repetition lab should be avoided, and we need to create what is called a think and learn process. So basically their innate ability to create new things should be enhanced in addition to having the fundamentals of education. So that's a very, very good point. So
Yeah.
Dr. Chinmay.
So just to add one more point, they are engineers, not a science graduate. So
Yeah.
they should be trained in a way to create solution to the problem.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So So basically, you are suggesting that curriculum revision or modification to enhance that aspect should be a very good direction to do that. Now, coming to Dr. Chinmay with the same problem, same question, employability of students in India and what we need to do for that and how you think IEEE can help.
Yeah, my answer will be very brief and bulleted because most of the points are already mentioned. So firstly, the NEP, if you see the new education policy, the teaching emphasizes most on the learning centric. Our teaching should be modulated. It should not be teaching centric, but it should be learning centric. There is a key difference between learning centric. So there should be a continuous feedback mechanism between the input and output. Hardly we bother about the output. We just take the classes and we think students are learned, but that's not the thing. The new education policy NEP, I'm being part of the committee of the NEP of IIST. I'm aware of the some of the terminologies. So continuous assessment, continuous developing the course curriculum, especially the lab development, as Dr. Shashidharan mentioned, that is very important. Point number one, that means to improvise our teaching learning process and continuously developing, upgrading the labs mainly because theory we have hardly scope to change because we have to learn the fundamentals. And the most important thing after the, I'm focusing on the undergraduate students after second year, they should have some more problem solving skills. That means on each of the topic or each of the course that we are learning, we should give them some mini project kind of thing that may be continuous evaluation or whatever, but those should not be exam oriented. That should not be, writing in pen and paper during the end semester exam, but that should be continuously evaluated, which depending on the nature of the course, maybe some design, maybe some analysis, maybe doing some programming, but it should be an involved work where faculty should create groups and, evaluate their performance in a continuous fashion, and the faculty must invest proper amount of time to frame those problem statement in a proper fashion. And the last point is the project. The project should be very challenging. Project should be innovative. It should not be a routine work. Through the project, which is typically a 6 semester for undergraduate students, but I encourage students to start their project bit early, at least in 6th semester, so that during a 6th semester and part of the 7th semester, they do a good literature survey. And the project work faculty should be very much involved. And we must ensure that there is some output coming from the project. Output means either some kind of novelty should be there. It should have some at least 5% innovation. Or if you are doing an academic guidance, they should at least come up with a IEEE conference paper. And later on, not all cases, few cases, you might probably extend the work for a journal paper. So this kind of mini challenges involved, more involvement with the students through this type of innovative project are the key requirement that we probably can think of. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Chinmay. I think it was very elaborate points that you have given. Very, very valuable points.
Excuse me, I just want to add all the technical universities or colleges who have been to MBA accreditation, you would have gone through all these requirements for an object-oriented education. But the question is, how can we motivate the students to do this earnestly? And that has been a challenge. So.
If we have, I just address this one. If you have the privilege to set the question on your own, that means if they're writing exam on a question which is set by you, that is not possible in an university or multiple colleges are there. Then probably after 2-3 trials, if you frame the questions properly, based in a modular approach, mixing the analytical thing, little innovative things, etc. Then after 1 or 2 years, the trend will be set. So that is something which is directly in our hand because we are directly teaching in university system, but deemed university or deemed to be university. But the university like KTU or Kerala University or there are multiple colleges. So that has to come from little higher level so that, the main points of the new education policy regarding the teaching and curriculum development part are taken care. Yeah.
So that is actually very good set of statements, and in fact, many good points emerged on this particular topic. Now we are almost at the end of our session, so I just want to hear from my audience if they have any questions to the panelists. So any of the audience, students or faculty here can actually ask the panelists if you have any questions other than what we have discussed. So let me just ask if they have anything. Yeah, I think there are no questions in the chat box also. So maybe Murtaza is asking a question. Murtaza, you can type the question in your chat box, or you can read out. Either way is fine. I see you are typing something.
Yeah, better you speak.
Yeah, you can ask the question.
Hello, sir.
to your
So I
microphone.
was, hello, sir. So I was listening, sir. So all of the advice was to the faculty, sir. So any advice for our students, sir?
Any panelists want to take this question? What is your advice for students?
I would like to answer that question. Just like Chinmay sir said, why don't you take up a project in each of the subject you are, studying? So that is one way to improve your employability.
Very good. Murtaza is our EdSoc student branch chapter chair. He is one of the very active and promising student volunteer, actually. So I see a lot of promise in him. So
Keep up the good
any
work.
other panelists want to make a mention on
I
this?
just want to mention, because it is Murtaza and he represents the education, newly formed Education Society chapter of IIST. So senior students who are in the final year or so on, you can also groom your juniors when you go through a correct path, like how to learn, what to do at different, semester break, what is to be done beyond the curriculum, because that semester break time is very important when students are little idle. And probably encourage your colleagues to start the innovative work, the project work little early. That is the key, because once you do a final year project very seriously, you learn a lot of things. You learn how to do literature survey. You learn how to write a good project. It's not easy. You learn how to write a small article, how to communicate in an IEEE conference, or if you are doing some industry oriented project, how to have a effective communication with industry people, how to present your work in a quick span. So all these skills are grown, and once students like you have gone through a proper path, it is your responsibility to groom the younger students from your perspective, because sometimes when seniors are talking, they take it more seriously, because it is very close to their heart. So this is a responsibility given to senior students like you, Murtaza. Yeah.
Right. That's a very good.
Yeah, I would like to add, like, peer learning is much more effective than teacher-student learning. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, student mentoring a student has a very high value, as Dr. Chinmay and Dr. Deepthi Sajan pointed out. So, okay, then I think we are already on the edge of our time limit. If there are no further questions from the audience, we can conclude. So we have discussed several interesting points. I have noted down some of these, and I have also recorded the meeting, so we'll be able to come up with some set of recommendations out of this one discussion.